Hi, I'm Duncan Jones from digital marketing agency Web Profits, and I lead our multi-channel growth marketing product. Today I'm going to talk about how to generate reviews, which is something that seems pretty simple, but which a lot of brands are getting wrong. A quick warning before I go on: if your product or service or your customer support sucks, then you need to fix that before you start review generation. To get positive reviews, you need product market fit and genuinely happy customers. And if you scale up before then, you'll get heaps of bad reviews. So why do reviews even matter, and are they worth your time and focus? Well, there are stats everywhere which show the impact of reviews, with surveys and polls frequently finding the positive impact that they have on consumers. But rather than run you through all of these, just have a think. Have you personally used reviews, and have they influenced you to purchase before? My bet is yes, you have. The best way to show why reviews matter is through split testing, to actually prove they have a positive impact and are worth generating. A good example of this is this e-commerce company, which split tested all of its watch pages and changed "Why shop with us?" to reviews from Trustpilot. This increased their sales by 58%, and there's heaps of examples like that. Another reason reviews are worth your time is that aggregation sites are starting to become channels in their own right. Productreview.com.au is one of the most popular review sites in Australia, and it's now becoming a place consumers turn to first to find reviews, and it's now generating a substantial volume of leads and sales for our clients, which proves again that reviews matter. So now you're convinced about reviews, how should you actually generate them? This is a three-part process: getting the timing right, asking them the right way, and through the right channels, and lastly pushing them to the right place to leave the review. Firstly, timing. Getting the timing of when you ask for a review right is essential to not only get them to write a review, but to increase the chances of them writing a positive one. Essentially, you need to ask for a review when the customer is at the height of the customer excitement. And generally this is at one of these three times: immediately after purchasing your product or service, immediately after receiving the product or service, or immediately after receiving the promised benefit from your product or service. The third one is definitely the best time to ask, but it's also the hardest to identify for a lot of companies. To work this out, you could see when organic reviews were posted and compare it to when they became a customer. Split test different times to find out which time works best. Use surveys and polls, and also review any NPS surveys you've run in the past and see if there's a common time that people are at their happiest. You could review your competitors who are the most successful in getting reviews and see when they are asking. Plus, you could actually speak to your customers to get insights. If you're still not sure on timing, you'll either need to manually work this out for each customer, or you can use industry or generic stats that review aggregation sites sometimes put out that detail the best times to ask. Once you've worked out the best time, you actually need to ask for the review. There have been a lot of studies conducted that show that simply asking for reviews will give you much higher ratings than not. And that's because generally it's your unhappiest customers who will leave unprompted reviews. So how should you ask? Well, firstly, you should be specific and simply ask them for a review and a star rating. Make sure not to ask a lot of questions, which will put a lot of people off due to the effort involved. You are asking them a favor after all, so make it simple. Secondly, you should personalize the review request with the specific product or service that they purchase. By the time you ask them, they may have forgotten you. Thirdly, make sure to use a unique review request. A boring, templated request will be ignored, but one from a personal, replyable email address that is written using your brand's unique voice is way more likely to get results. A few other things you should include: a pre-framed opening line, such as "If you've had a good experience, please help us out." A reason why they should take the time to leave a review, i.e. to help out people just like them. How quick and easy it will be for them to fill it out. For example, it will take just 3 minutes. And a way for them to contact you if they're not happy. You don't want their only way to vent to be to leave you a review. Another thing to note is that you can ask multiple times, so don't be afraid to ask more than once. They might not have seen the first request, or they may not have had the time then. There are a lot of different mediums you can actually ask for the review through, and ideally you should ask via more than one. The most common ways to ask are email, which is the standard way that brands ask for reviews, and probably the most effective, and this can be automated or manually sent if you've got high value clients. SMS, which a lot of brands, especially local ones, are now asking for reviews via, and which is pretty effective due to high open rates. Push notifications. If you've got an app, you can use push notifications to get reviews, which is something that Google Maps has now started doing. Facebook and Google Ads, which you can target only to specific buyer segments, for example, only your top customers a certain time after they've bought. Offline, if you're an e-commerce store or a service-based business, you should definitely make sure you're using offline ways of asking for reviews, such as a card or a letter in each package that you send. Phone calls or in person, asking for a review over the phone or in person will have a much better close rate, as it's a personal request, and not many people are going to leave you a bad review with you looking over their shoulder. Once you've decided on the timing and what mediums you're going to use to ask for reviews, the next step is automating the review request, as it can be very painful to continually send manual review requests, and it's something that will eventually drop in your priorities as you get busy. If you can set up an online trigger for the time that your customer is at the height of their excitement, for example, the days since they purchased, then you can automate the review request. There's a number of different third-party tools, and some of these include email providers, which offer automated sequences that can be triggered quite easily, Yotpo, a tool for e-commerce websites which personalizes and automates the review request, Feedback Genius, which automates review requests for Amazon sellers, Burst SMS, which can automate SMS messages via API and has lots of other features, ManyChat, which can automate Facebook Messenger review requests. Plus, there's even ways to automate direct mail straight from your CRM, which in the US can even be handwritten for you. If you can't set up an online trigger, for example, because your CRM system won't integrate with your email system, then you'll have to manually trigger review request emails. This can still sort of be automated though. Essentially, you should just create an email sequence which sends when people are manually added to the list, and then upload the customer emails whenever you want to trigger an email to them. This will save you recreating the email every time. You can also use the platform's direct tools to manually